Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Faithful One, day 2 of the spring awakening. I'm looking forward to spring. It finally warmed up here in Ohio where the Faithful One is located. I don't know if you guys knew that, but yeah, we're located in Ohio. Fun fact. Day 2, ironically enough, day 1 was about Moses. Guess what? Day 2 is about. It's also about Moses. And it is a foreshadowing event of the cross. I will be reading in Numbers 21, verses 4 through 9, if you would like to follow along. And they, that's the Israelites and Moses, journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom, and the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. As in, like, the terrain, it was rough. It was a hard route. And people spake against God and against Moses, "Wherefore have ye brought us out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loatheth is light bread." And the Lord sent fiery serpents, or poisonous snakes, among the people, and they bit the people, and much of the people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, "We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against thee. Pray unto the Lord that he take away the serpents from us." And Moses prayed for the people. That was all context. These are the two verses that I really want you guys to listen to. "And the Lord said unto Moses, Make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looketh upon, shall live. And Moses made a serpent of brass, and put it upon a pole, and it came to pass that if any serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld or looked on the serpent of brass, he lived." Get my notes out here. So this event, it foreshadows the cross in several ways. Jesus actually compared himself to this serpent in John 3:14 and 15. You guys don't have to turn there. I should have had it open. I didn't. Let me get there. Open right to it. And as Moses lifted up the serpent into the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. I'll go ahead and read 16, because it's a good verse. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." So verse 14, it says, "And Moses lifted up the serpent into the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up." The Israelites' nose fell. The Israelites looked to the serpent to be healed, but it was more out of faith. They had faith that if they looked at this thing that God told Moses to make, if they looked at this thing, then they would be healed. We, as Christians, we need to look towards Jesus, or give our hearts to Jesus, to be saved. The earlier serpents, talking about the ones that were biting the Israelites, that is what sin did. That was because of sin. We have the snake venom in us if we are not saved. We've been bitten by venomous snakes, and we need something to cast our faith to believe that it can take this venom and save our life out of us. That is Jesus. This picture of a serpent, it comes from Genesis 3, the fall of man, where Satan in the Garden of Eden came to Adam and Eve as a serpent. So that's why he sent serpents as a kind of, almost like a flashback or a reminder, like, hey, these serpents, they mean no good, all right? They're bad creatures who are not here to make you live. And Satan, he's not here to allow us to live. He wants us to live a life of sin, a life of pride, a life of sin, a life of cussing, a life of drinking, party life. He wants us to live that life down here on earth and then spend eternity with him in hell. Jesus wants us to spend a life dedicated to him, in church, in prayer, praying for others. That's what Jesus wants us to live, a life worth dying for. That's what Jesus wants us to live. And he wants us to spend eternal life with him. To set up the cross on a high place. That is parallel to Galatians 3:13, where Jesus took up his cross. Let me go ahead and open that real quick. I should have these open or marked. I don't. 3:13. Christ hath redeemed us from the curse of law, being made curse for us. It is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree. Jesus took that curse from us, that curse of sin on that cross. He hung on that cross and took that curse. And then when he died, he rose again without it. Go back to John 3:17. It says, for God sent not his son to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be, saved. He didn't send Jesus here to condemn us. He sent Jesus to take all that condemnation or that curse and die with it and rise pure and rise without it. And just like that serpent, it was put on a pole, that brass serpent, it was set up high on a pole. Jesus was across and on that mountain displayed as a picture of what he did for us. Obviously, that is not the end of the story, because he rose again only 3 days later. Old Testament is really good at doing this with not even not even realizing it, that we might not even realize that these events in the Old Testament parallel or foreshadow events in the cross. This perfectly, beautifully does it. It perfectly foreshadows Jesus' crucifixion and the saving power in his sacrifice. So kind of a more salvation-centered message. If you guys are not saved or do not know what that is, feel free to comment or reach out. Thank you guys. Enjoy day 3 tomorrow.